Chapter 6. The Lymphatics. Importance of the subject, demands of nature on the lymphatics, Dunlanson's definition, dangers of dead substances, lymph continued, solvent in nature, where are the lymphatics situated, the fat and lean. Importance of the subject. Possibly less is known of the lymphatics than any other division of the life-sustaining machinery of man. Thus, ignorance of that definition is equal to a total blank with the operator. Finer nerves dwell with the lymphatics than even with the eye. The eye is an organized effect, the lymphatics the cause. In them the spirit of life more abundantly dwells. No atom can leave the lymphatics in an imperfect state and get a union with any part of the body. There the atom obtains form and knowledge of how and what to do. The lymphatics consume more of the finer fluids of the brain than the whole viscera combined. By nature, coarser substances are necessary to construct the organs that run the blast and rough forging divisions. The lymphatics form, finish, temper, and send the bricks to the builder with intelligence, that he may construct by adjusting all according to nature's plans and specifications. Nature makes machinery that can produce just what is necessary, and when united, produces what the most capable minds could exact. The lymphatics are closely and universally connected with the spinal cord and all other nerves, long or short, universal or separate, and all drink from the waters of the brain. By an action of the nerves of the lymphatics, a union of qualities necessary to produce gall, sugar, acids, alkalis, bone, muscle, and softer parts, with the thought that elements can be changed, suspended, collected, and associated, and produce any chemical compound necessary to sustain animal life, wash out salt, sweeten and preserve the being from decay, and death by chemical, electric, atmosphere, or climactic changes. By this we are admonished in all our treatment not to wound the lymphatics, as they are undoubtedly the life-giving centers and organs. Thus, it behooves us to handle them with wisdom and tenderness, for by and from them a withered limb, organ, or any division of the body receives what we call reconstruction or is builded anew. And without this cautious procedure, your patient had better save his life and money by passing you by as a failure until you are by knowledge qualified to deal with the lymphatics. Demands of nature on the lymphatics. Why not reason on the broad plane of known facts and give the why he or she has complete prostration? When all systems are cut off from a chance to move and execute such duties as nature has allotted to them, motor nerves must drive all substances to, and sensation must judge the supply and demand. Nutrition must be in action the time and keep all parts well supplied with power to labor, or a failure is sure to appear. We must ever remember the demands of nature on the lymphatics, liver, and kidneys. They must work all the time, or a confusion for lack in their duties will mark a cripple in some function of life over which they preside. Dunlanson's definition. Dunlanson's scientific definition of the lymphatics is very extensive, comprehensive, and right to the point for our use as doctors of osteopathy. He describes the lymphatic glands as countless in number, universally distributed all through the human body, containing vitalized water and other fluids necessary to the support of animal life, running parallel with the venous system and more abundantly there in other locations of the body, at the same time discharging their contents into the veins while conveying the blood back to the heart from the whole system. It is not reasonable to suppose that besides being nutrient centers, that they accumulate and pass water through the whole secretory and excretory systems of the body, in order to reduce nourishment to that degree from thick to thin, that it may easily pass through all tubes, ducts, and vessels interested in distribution, as nourishment first and renovation second, through the excretory ducts. The question arises, whence cometh this water? Dangers of dead substances. This leads us back to the lungs, as one of the great sources of which you have been informed under the head of lungs, gases, and water. With this fountain of life-saving water provided by nature to wash away impurities as they accumulate in our bodies, would it not be great stupidity in us to see a human being burnt to death by the fires of fever, or die from asphyxia by allowing bad or dead lymph, albumin, or any substance to load down the powers of nature and keep the blood from being washed to normal purity? If so, let us go deeper into the study of the life-saving powers of the lymphatics. Do we not find in death that the lymphatics are dark, and in life they are healthy and red? Lymph continued. What we meet with in all diseases is dead blood, stagnant lymph, and albumin in a semi-vital or dead or decomposing condition all through the lymphatics and other parts of the body, brain, lungs, kidneys, liver, and fascia. The whole system is loaded with a confused mass of blood that is mixed with much or little unhealthy substances that should have been kept washed out by lymph. Stop and view the frog's superficial lymphatic glands. You see all parts move just as regular as the heart does. They are all in motion during life. For what purpose do they move, if not to carry the fluids to sustain by building up, while the excretory channels receive and pass out all that is of no further use to the body? Now we see this great system of supply is the source of construction and purity. If this be true, we must keep them normal all the time and see confused nature in the form of disease the list through. Thus we strike at the source of life and death when we go to the lymphatics. With this fountain of life-saving water, provided by nature to wash away impurities as they accumulate in our body, would it not be great stupidity in us to see a human being burned to death by fires of fever or die from asphyxia by allowing bad or dead lymph, albumin, or any substance to load down the powers of nature to keep the blood washed to normal purity? If so, let us go deeper in the study of the life-sustaining powers of the lymphatics. Nature's solvents. The brain flushes the nerves of the lymphatics first, and more than any other system of the body. No part is so small or remote that it is not in direct connection with some part or chain of the lymphatics. The doctor of osteopathy has much to think about when he consults natural remedies and how they are supplied and administered, as disease is the effect of tardy deposits in some or all parts of the body, reason would bring us to hunt a solvent of such deposits which hinder the natural motion of blood and other fluids in functional works, which are to keep the body pure from any substance that would check vital action. When we have searched and found that the lymphatics are almost the sole requisite of the body, when we must admit that their use is equal to the abundant and universal supply of such glands. If we think and use a homely word and say that disease is only too much dirt in the wheels of life, then we will see that nature takes this method to wash out the dirt. As an application, pneumonia is too much dirt in the wheels of the lungs. If so, we must wash out. Nowhere can we go to a better place for water than the lymphatics. Are they not like a fire company with nozzles in all windows ready to flush the burning house? Where are the lymphatics situated? A student of life must take in all parts and study their uses and relations to other parts and systems. We lay much stress on the uses of blood and the powers of the nerves, but have we any evidence that they are of more vital importance than the lymphatics? If not, let us halt at this universal system of irrigation and study its great uses in sustaining animal life. Where are they situated in the body? Answer by, where are they not? No space is so small as to be out of connection with the lymphatics, with their nerves, secretory, and excretory ducts. Thus, the system of lymphatics is complete and universal in the whole body. After beholding the lymphatics distributed along all nerves, blood channels, muscles, glands, and all organs of the body, from the brain to its soles of the feet, all loaded to fullness with watery liquids, we certainly can make but one conclusion as to their use, which would be to mingle with and carry out all impurities of the body. By first mixing with such substances and reducing them to that degree of fluids in fineness that could pass through the smallest tubes of the excretory system, and by that method free the body from all deposits of either solids or fluids and leave nourishment. The fat and lean. A question. Why is he too fat and she only skin and bone, while a third is just right? If one is just right, why not all? If we get fat by a natural process, why not reverse the process and stop at any desirable point in flesh size? I believe the law of life is simple and natural in both respects, if widely understood. We have nerves of motion to carry food to all parts, organs, glands, and muscles. Have we channels to convey to all? Have we fluids to suit all demands? Have we brain power equal to all force needed? Is blood formed sufficiently to fill all demands? Does that blood contain fat, water, muscle, skin, hair, and all kinds to suit each division, organ, and nerve? If so, and blood is builded too much flesh, can it not take that bulk away by returning blood to gas and other fluids? Can that which has been done be done again? If yes, be the correct answer, then we should hope to return blood, fat, flesh, and bone to gas and pass them away while in gaseous condition, and do away with all unnatural size or lack of size. I believe that it is natural to build and destroy all material form, from the lowest animated being to the greatest rolling world. I believe no world could be constructed without strict obedience to a governing law which gives size by addition and reduces that size by subtraction. Thus, a fat man is builded by great addition, and if desired can be reduced by much subtraction, which is simply a rule of numbers. We multiply to enlarge, also subtract when we wish a reduction. Turn your eye for a time to the supply trains of nature. When the crop is abundant, the latting would be great, and when the seasons do not suit, the crops are short. When the crop is abundant, the latting would be great, and when the seasons do not suit, the crops are short or shorter to no latting at all. Thus we have the fat man and the lean man. Is it not reasonable as a conclusion that the most exacting philosophy that the train of cars that can bring loads of stone, brick, and mortar until a great bulk is formed can also carry away until this bulk disappears in part or all? This being my conclusion, I will say by many years of careful observation of the work of creating bodies and destroying the same, that to add is the law of giving size, and to subtract from is the law of reduction. Both are natural, and both can be made practical in the reduction or addition of flesh, which found too great in quantity, or we can add to give size to the starving muscle through the action of the motor and nutrient system conveyed to, and appropriated from the laboratory in which all bodily substances are formed. Thus, the philosophy is absolute, and the sky is clear to proceed with addition and subtraction of flesh. I believe I am prepared to say at this time that I understand the nervous system well enough to direct the laboratory of nature and cause it, through its skilled arts, to unload or reduce he who is overburdened with a superabundance of flesh, and add to the scanty muscle a sufficiency to give power of comfortable locomotion and other forces by opening the gate of the supply trains of nutrition.